Welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you're listening, maybe you've walked away from a conversation recently.
Oh, I think we all have.
Yeah, maybe with a partner, colleague, maybe just someone online, and you just feel drained, like you gained zero ground.
Absolutely. Just spinning wheels.
Well, our mission today is to, cut through some of that noise. We're diving into Jefferson Fisher's playbook. He's a trial lawyer turned communication coach.
High stakes stuff.
Exactly. It's from his guide, The Next Conversation. Argue less, talk more. And this isn't just theory. This is tactical advice.
The kind used when things really matter.
We want to show you how to use these tactics in your everyday life to stop the arguing, start, collaborating.
And the goal here is really efficiency, I think, and effectiveness. We're pulling out those specific practical tools, shortcuts almost, that help shift your mindset away from being defensive, hostile, towards actual productive dialogue.
Like the manual you wish you'd always had.
Pretty much. Like an emotional intelligence toolkit you can actually use right away.
Okay, let's get into it then. Starting with a core diagnosis. I found this really paradigm shifting. Fisher says most people don't really have communication problems.
Right. That's not the real issue.
They have reaction problems.
That's the absolute foundation of his whole approach. What he means is, look, being able to string a sentence together, that's not the problem.
You could all talk.
Yeah, the real issue is how fast, how intensely we react emotionally. We jump into conversations ready to respond, or, let's be honest, ready to win.
Listening to argue back.
Instead of listening to connect, or even just to understand what the other person is actually saying.
So the whole thing gets derailed, instantly. Because we're basically in self-defense mode from the start. Listening through this filter of how do I shoot that down?
Exactly right. And when you react that fast, you're letting your nervous system drive the bus. It's that emotional hijack he talks about. The amygdala just takes over.
Fight or flight.
Totally. That instant knee-jerk defensiveness just floods the whole conversation with heat. And once that happens, meaningful understanding becomes, neurologically pretty much impossible. For both sides.
Okay, so the first move isn't about what you say, it's internal, regulating yourself. And Fisher calls this, verbal jujitsu. That's quite an image.
It is, yeah. And it's a good one because jujitsu isn't about brute force, is it? It's about using your opponent's energy, their momentum.
Redirecting it.
Precisely. In a conversation, that means using calm, controlled language and sometimes just silence to redirect all that emotional energy instead of meeting their frustration with yours.
Which is our instinct.
It is. But the moment your own emotions flare up, you've lost that tactical edge. The goal has to shift immediately from proving I'm right to just managing the temperature.
Keeping things cool.
Because emotional regulation, honestly, it's the most powerful tool you've got. Calm is inherently confusing to someone who's angry or agitated.
I like that. Calm is confusing. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You stay composed and it disrupts their script, right? The conflict script they expect.
Exactly. They expect you to push back with equal force.
But okay, let's get tactical for the listener. This is where it gets really useful. Fisher doesn't just give us philosophy, he gives 4 specific skills.
Yeah.
Can we walk through those? Get specific.
Absolutely. This is the core of it, really. The actionable stuff. Skills you can literally practice, like today.
Okay, skill 1.
Skill number 1, and maybe the hardest one, honestly, is the pause before reacting. Just stop.
Stop. Physically stop.
Yes, the physical act of stopping that knee-jerk thing. It's critical because it creates a tiny window between the stimulus, what they said, and your response. Lets the rational brain catch up.
Okay, but practically, someone throws a jab, right?
Yeah.
Criticizes your work, snaps at you over dinner. How do you do that pause without looking, stunned or just passive?
Right, good question. It's not just dead air. The pause isn't empty, it's active. You can take a deliberate breath, a physical breath, or use a bridging phrase, something like, that's an interesting point, or, okay, help me understand that better.
Buys you time.
Exactly. 3, maybe 5 seconds. Enough time to choose your response, choose your tone, instead of letting pure emotion dictate it. That pause, that's power. It stops you from just automatically escalating.
That's useful. A little script to pause and redirect. Okay, skill number 2, maybe the most effective. Validate before correcting.
Oh, this is the bedrock. Absolutely key for lowering defenses. Validation means acknowledging the other person's feelings.
Your emotion.
or just the legitimacy of their perspective, their viewpoint, even if you completely disagree with their conclusion or their fact.
So instead of jumping in with, you're wrong because.
Right. Don't do that first. Lead with something like, oh, okay, I hear that you feel really strongly about this workload, or wow, that sounds incredibly frustrating. You acknowledge the feeling.
I can see how that would soften things. But here's the pushback, right?
Yeah.
The little voice saying, if I validate their feeling, aren't they going to think I agree with them? That I'm saying they're right about the facts.
And that is the absolute critical misunderstanding Fisher tackles head on. Validation does not mean agreement.
Okay, big distinction.
Huge. It's simply emotional acknowledgement. Saying, I understand why you're angry, validates their experience. It doesn't confirm their data or their interpretation.
You're saying, I see you feel this way.
Exactly. And it builds trust. Because they feel heard, they feel seen, and once someone feels heard, they tend to shift out of that defensive crouch. They become much more open to actually hearing your perspective or, a correction.
If you skip that step.
They won't hear a word you say next anyway. Their defenses are still up.
Makes sense. So validation first, defenses down, then skill 3. Speak to connect, not convince. Sounds like shifting gears.
It is shifting from debate mode into inquiry mode. It's moving away from hostility towards shared curiosity. This is where he says curiosity replaces conflict.
How does that work in practice?
You stop making statements about why they're wrong. You start asking open-ended questions. Questions genuinely designed to understand why they think what they think or feel what they feel.
So if your partner says, you never help around the house.
Yeah, the convince us approach is, that's not true. I did the dishes last night.
Right.
Defensive.
Standard response.
The connect approach is something like, okay, I hear that you feel really overwhelmed right now. Can you tell me more? Like, what specific things are causing the most stress?
So you sidestep the general accusation.
You shift focus from that vague, accusatory never to concrete things you might actually solve together. That simple shift towards curiosity reframes it. It becomes us against this problem, not me against you.
Okay, that's powerful. And then the fourth pillar, something we totally forget with email and text. Own your tone.
Oh, completely. Tone is everything. It's the delivery system.
Yeah.
Fisher really hammers this. How you say something, the nonverbals, the paraverbals, often matters way more than what you say.
The message itself gets lost.
Instantly. If you deliver perfectly factual information, but your tone is condescending, or dismissive, or sarcastic, forget it. The content is rejected immediately. It's tone over text, every time.
Guilty as charged, probably.
We all are sometimes. If you're explaining something, like a new policy, but you sound rushed or frustrated, the listener hears, I think I'm an idiot. Regardless of your words, owning your tone means making sure your delivery actually matches your intention to connect.
It's amazing how much we read into inflection, isn't it? Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Look at the overall philosophy. Beyond these 4 skills, he has 7 key lessons. 2 really jumped out. First, that calm is contagious.
Yeah, that brings us back to the neurology, doesn't it? Mirror neurons. We're wired for it. When you manage to stay composed, even when someone's coming at you hot, you often sort of nudge their nervous system to mirror yours.
You co-regulate, almost.
You're essentially resetting the emotional thermostat for the interaction. Staying calm isn't passive acceptance, it's an active intervention. It changes the dynamic.
And the other big one, prioritize the relationship. Connection beats correction. That feels like a tough pill to swallow for, people who like being right.
It is. Our egos love being right. But Fisher, with his legal background, he gets it. Winning a small point but damaging the long-term relationship, that's almost always a net loss.
Yeah, winning the battle, losing the war.
If proving your point destroys trust or makes someone unwilling to talk to you honestly next time, what have you actually won? Nothing valuable. It forces you to ask, what's my real goal here? To score a point. Or to make sure we can still work together, live together, whatever it is.
And the practical beauty here is that it's about small shifts, making big differences. You don't have to become a Zen master overnight.
No, not at all. It's about changing one word sometimes, adding that pause, making tiny adjustments that yield major results. That's why it's practical, even in high-pressure moments.
Okay, let's put this in context. You mentioned the reception people praise how practical it is, how immediate. And Fisher's background adds weight.
Definitely. Knowing these methods work when the stakes are incredibly high, people's futures, big money, that gives it credibility. It's not just theory crafted in a lab.
But there are critiques too, right? Some say it overlaps a lot with classics like crucial conversations or nonviolent communication. Is it just old wine in a new bottle?
That's a fair question. And yeah, there's overlap. The core principles of good communication, they tend to be pretty universal. But I think where Fisher differentiates himself is in the orientation. Crucial Conversations often focuses more on organizational settings, high-stakes planned talks, maybe a bit more psychological theory.
Okay.
Fisher's work feels less academic. It's much more focused on the immediate, tactical, almost physical self-control needed when you feel blindsided or attacked personally.
That in-the-moment reaction.
Exactly. And sure, some wanted deeper dives into persuasion or complex negotiation, but the book deliberately avoids that. It's not about manipulating the other person.
It's about managing yourself.
Precisely. How you manage your half. It's really a manual for shifting from just reacting on instinct to consciously responding, which feels incredibly relevant right now with all the, online outrage and divided conversations we navigate.
That internal focus, yeah, that's key. So what's the big takeaway for you, the listener? Fisher's system really pushes you to see conflict differently as an opportunity for that verbal jujitsu. It's a reminder that, look, if you genuinely want to argue less and talk more, you have to consciously choose connection. Choose curiosity over that quick hit your ego gets from being right.
Well said. And since we know these small shifts are the path to getting better at this, maybe here's the challenge for everyone listening.
Okay.
Think about a conversation you know is coming up, maybe this week. One that makes you a bit anxious, a tricky check-in with your boss, a recurring argument with family.
We all have one?
Right. Now, what if you decided just for that conversation to make one shift? Prioritize validation. Really hear them out first. Prioritize connection before you even try to make your point or correct them. How might that single choice change the whole direction of that exchange?
Just that one change.
That's the power of the next conversation.
Yeah.
And that's something for you to explore this week.